Hi everyone, Tom Vogel, Wrestling's Finest, PC game. Continuing my little flurry of videos here, we're doing this one on, looks like Saturday, August 24th, 2019. This will probably be a little quicker one, I always say that, but I'm going to really try to keep my word on this one. I'm going to point out just a few things that just kind of some, I don't want to call them minor things, but some maybe little features people aren't completely aware of. So it's going to be a little bit of a hodgepodge. Some of you probably already know a lot of this, but I believe there might be a couple things here and there that most of you might not know. First thing I want to talk about is what I did was I hit start new match. I wanted to show you real quick here. With the upcoming new sets, one thing I decided to do, instead of doing or having a wrestler indicated as early, we are now, with the help of John, we went through and we determined if we rated, like for example, I have Bruiser Brody and Abdul the Butcher here in front of me. You'll see them highlighted there. We had a Bruiser Brody as a heel, and then we rated an early Bruiser Brody also as a heel. And originally, what everybody has in the game prior to me sending out these sets in a few days, it said Bruiser Brody, and then the other one was Bruiser Brody, and then in parentheses there was an E meaning early. Well, questions I would get is, well, if I'm using Brody at this period, what should I use? So we decided to go through for all the early ratings. We changed them and the original rating to the year. So like in this example, we have two Bruiser Brodies. One is 1979 and before, and then the other one is 1980 and after. It's not a 100% rule, but typically the early ratings, you know, the 79 and before, like for Brody, that would more than likely be his weaker rating, but that's not always the case. And that's why I highlighted Abdullah. Abdullah the Butcher 77 and before was actually, believe it or not, a more slender, still was kind of big, but a little bit more athletic style, not quite the wild man that I would venture a guess most of us remember Abdullah as, you know, coming in with the forks and the knives and trying to maim people, and you know, he's very large. Not saying he didn't do the wild stuff in his 77 and before rating, just maybe not to that extent. The other thing I want to show what we did here is go down to Roddy Piper. You'll see here now Piper, he has 3 ratings. He has the Roddy Piper. And here's the other thing, guys. If you don't know if a guy's a heel or, isn't that a great picture I got? I really like that one. Smug Piper. If you don't really know if a guy's a heel or a face, just click his name and it will tell you. Like, it's 80 and later Piper. That's kind of probably from his mid-Atlantic, Georgia, and then going forward to the WWF, but his prime actually was, as a heel, was in the mid-Atlantic, and when he ventured off into Georgia a little bit. The 79 Piper, that's, look at that young fella. That's when he was mainly in LA, a little bit in San Francisco, where he's a brash young guy, wasn't real great, but, you know, still a very chaotic guy. So in Piper's case, his 79 and earlier is a much weaker rating than his 80 and after. So here, the reason there's not a year for the Piper face is because it's just rated for his prime face time. And the reason we have the 2 for the other one is because both those are heel ratings. So in other words, if a wrestler's rated, say, twice as a face and once as a heel, only the face ratings will have the year designation. I think somebody had asked, why don't you put years by them all? Mainly, I don't want it. It'd be a pain in the ass. And 2, it would invalidate every single picture in the game. What I did do, and I normally won't do it because, again, it's a pain in the ass, since I changed, you know, I don't know how many early ratings we had, since I changed them all to a year, and then we had the, you know, the year for the other Piper rating, I did go in and I put together a photo package I will send out with the wrestle sets, just so your pictures are not invalidated due to me changing the system we have. So anyway, that was the first thing I wanted to show there. Next thing, as long as we're on this screen, I got to slide this up. Keep in mind, let's say you're going to have the computer control Piper in this match. One thing I wanted to point out, after you select heel, you have a pre-match setting for the pre-match attack. If you want it to be a normal, meaning the computer decides if attack's going to occur, you leave it at normal. If you'd like it to be somewhat limited, you click half. And then if you never want a pre-match, you click never. And if I'm in a tournament, I don't like doing pre-matches because I'm not typically trying to create an angle or a feud. I want to have somebody crowned as champion, so I might consider going never, but I definitely would go half. Now, if you control the wrestler, it doesn't matter. You won't get this option because you get to decide yea or nay if you want to try it. The final thing here is all the categories. Don't get creative and try to get cute. Don't put Piper as an oddball. Don't put him as a tweener. Definitely don't put him as a face, because every one of these categories really affects greatly how Roddy Piper will be used if the computer's controlling him. They will not perform realistically if you all of a sudden make Piper an oddball, or if you make him a tweener. That's not the point of the computer opponent. This isn't a time for you to test out your artistic skills and pretend you're back in Berkeley doing protests and things. This here is simply follow what the guy is rated. There's very few oddballs in the game, and there's very few tweeners. And at some point, I will make a list of who I think the oddballs are. There are not very many. Somebody like Abdullah Butcher is not necessarily an oddball. You could make an argument for him, but there aren't a lot of them. Same with tweeners. When you think about it, there are not very many tweeners. And if you decide to use different settings, it's just going to screw stuff up. Yeah, you might be cute and funny, and if you're looking to, sit there and giggle away as you run your matches, I guess, knock yourself out and do it, but you're definitely not playing the game the way the computer opponent was designed. So that's, I think, everything I have on this screen here. Okay, back to the main screen. Just want to point out a few things here. I might have covered a few of these earlier, but we'll just go over them real quick here. Wrestle, one thing here, I'm going to skip here. Specialty match descriptions. It surprises me that a couple people I know didn't know this was in here, and they're very helpful, I think. You click specialty match descriptions, and it tells you what each one is, and it also tells you what settings to click. If you want to leave the blood on or the cut stoppage, it tells you a little bit, just a real quick little summary of what they are. And it also gives you the hint to uncheck the box for the face in many of these. And the reason that is, I'm going to show you here in a couple minutes. But it's kind of good to look these over just so you kind of know what they are. So anyway, I want to point that out. Also on this screen, and I didn't talk about this in the territory, but because I wanted to make it more of a blanket statement, wrestling card intangible check. I love this feature, and what it is it brings up possible situations that a promoter could face prior to a match, prior to his card starting. Injuries, late arrival, wrestlers in no condition to wrestle, wrestlers injured, back locker room disputes, weather issues, building issues. The chances of it coming up is not real high, but if it does, most of the results will apply to every card. There are a few results that you might shrug and say, well, that doesn't affect me for this card, but not very many. Usually if you get something to come up, you are going to have some type of adjustment you're going to have to make. And if you watched my territory video, it makes you think even further. And I enjoy coming up with these from videos. Herman reminded me of something the other day, of how they started to turn Sergeant Slaughter face, and we kind of came up with a general idea what to do, but Ed kind of finalized it actually this morning with a very good way to describe what we tried to get. So those are going in the Match Intangible. So to kind of know how many people watch these videos, if anybody emails me or posts at the forum, I'll send them the new Match Intangible. It's just a folder with the text file. It will come out to everybody when we get an update done. But if you'd like to have it now, and I'm not going to announce it anywhere else, you can contact me, and I'll send it off to you. I think you can also post here at the YouTube channel I have. But anyway, what you want to make sure though you do, this is very, very, very important. You only check this once per card. You don't do it before every match. You do it before your card starts. So it's very important you maybe put a yellow sticky up, because otherwise if I reminded you to do this, or if I had Gary write something up for it, it would pop up before every match, because the computer doesn't know that your card is ready to start. So you got to remember this on your own. But as soon as your card is set up, and I mean, every match, the order, everything, what you do is we're going to do it here in a second. You're going to roll to see if you have a pre-match intangible event. If you wait too long, then you could possibly manipulate it. So when I do a Georgia card, even though I only run one match per each town I go to, I do use a generic card I put together, and then before each one I check to see if there's a match intangible situation that comes up, and if it does, then I follow what it tells me to do, and you go from there. Again, you only use it before the match, and the other thing before the card starts, I'm sorry, and the other thing I would say is, don't be chicken shit. If you're going to say you're going to use it and you don't like the result, tough, use it. Nothing like, well, I'm going to use it, and then all of a sudden, ooh, I don't like that, I guess I'm not going to use it. To me, that's cheating. Either you do it or you don't. Kind of the same, if injuries, if you say, I'm going to use injuries, but then a guy you really like gets injured and he's going to be out for 6 months, then I don't really want to do that. Again, that's kind of selective choosing. So you're either in or you're out. I'm going to click this real quick. So we got this. This may be the most entertaining card you've ever assembled, only because there were no changes. So I could sit here and click it 50 times to see if one comes up, but just remember it's under wrestle, and it's under wrestling card intangible. Let's see here if there's anything else. The match setup we talked about. This is where you set your tourney DQ rules. Remember, you set a champion for the match. We're actually working on a system. I don't know if it's going to go through, but mainly due to screen size and just how it looks, where a lot of these things will be on one screen, actually, where you select your wrestlers. You'll have some of these choices already set on that. Then let's look here. This is the trading of the holds, if you want to trade them. Match cards, this is where you can create the match card posters, covers. You can create a match card, where you set your card up. Pretty self-explanatory. I know a lot of people do use it. I use it for some of my bigger events. Let's see what else here. You can delete it once you start it. If you create it, it gets saved, and then when you play the match card, it will let you pick whatever ones you have saved. Same thing with the tournament. You can create a new tournament. In one of the videos, I know I showed how to do the tournament. View, the trade hold recommendations. We have where you can view the wrestler or manager card, but remember you can just do that here by clicking the guy's picture. Statistics, full statistics. If you want to see how a wrestler's rated, I'll probably at some point do a video showing you how you can transfer very easily to a spreadsheet, and then I'll show you how you can easily clean it up and then sort it. So, but this is your full stat package here. Options. The default or advanced, the single event. I don't like full display. There's too much on there. I will go back and use that if something happened and it just caught my eye and maybe I went too fast, or if I want to go back at the end of the match and copy and paste. Strategy or luck cards is always checked. And again, I don't know why Herman doesn't like them. They add so much to the matches. I tried to run a match the other day just for fun without them, and I just don't like it. I wish he'd give it a try, but he's too stubborn. 90-point cut rule. If you don't want that in place, uncheck it. This other stuff here, pop-ups, they'll show you if it's going to happen to kind of give you a little pause to prepare you. Pin count timing. This is kind of cool. You can go in here and you can speed up or slow down your pin count. That's kind of where I have mine. I guess it's kind of in the middle, but if you want to make it go really fast, which I don't like, because I like to see it, but I also don't want it real slow or it takes forever. Other options, you got the sounds here. Help. The old board game instructions are a PDF, and then the computer help PDF. But the board game instructions are actually Grado helped years ago, helped clean them up, and I think they look real nice. They're a little bit outdated because I don't update them as we update other things. This is where you register everything. So that was pretty much what I just wanted to do for this this video. There was one thing I forgot. The no disclosure match. That was it. We did that. That was Herman's idea, and I did do a match on that where all the pin rating, the stamina, everything here is covered up. So you're basically playing the game blind. You have no idea what a wrestler's pin rating is. You don't know what his stamina is. In a way, it doesn't hide the game engine, but it hides stuff we're normally looking at. They're actually kind of fun to play. I do them once in a while, but I'm so used to, next time he gets a move, he goes to the next stamina level. I think that's part of the anticipation, but the no disclosure mode is pretty cool, I think. The other thing I wanted to show here was on change match type. That's where you can pick whatever other match you want. And I think in the next two videos I'm going to do a bounty and wrestler as a grudge. And I might just go through and do all these. So, we'll see if we can tackle that later. One change in the new update, defend the title. When you select defend the title, again, you'll be asked which wrestler you want to use. And that might be on the initial game screen. And when you click the wrestler, or maybe right before it, it will ask you, is this a world title match? And if you click yes, it will be a different defend the title. It's actually more pro champion than the defend the title we have right now. Just a couple results, or maybe an increase in some results. I don't know how much the chart changes, maybe the frequency of some things, but it definitely gives the world champion just a little better advantage than a non-world champion. I got to thinking, should a TV champion have the same advantage as a world champion? And I said no. So, but that will be coming up. Another thing here, go for the mask. Herman's lobbying hard to get Gary to be able to tie the go for the mask in, like for a cage and a Texas death. I don't know where we're going to draw the line, but right now if you do go for the mask, that supersedes any other match choice. So in other words, you can't have go for the mask and have it a cage match. So we're going to try to see if we can block out some of the go for the mask results that would be impossible to have in a cage match. And then also like the DQ ones in the cage match, but also like a Texas death match or a no DQ match. I'm sorry, we want to block those DQs or countouts from occurring. Not sure if that will happen, but Herman's lobbying hard, and Gary kind of has a soft spot for some of Herman's requests, even if some of them are kind of stupid, in my opinion. But again, another topic. I don't even know if Herman watches these videos, and if he does, then he can hear it, and oh well. Another match we're going to try to add, and it was the idea of John, and he gave me some, general ideas for the chart to use, and then I kind of modified it a little bit or expanded it, and I really like how it came out. I'm hoping it goes in there, and it is a tape fist match. Little different than the bunkhouse boot camp, but it's a tape fist match. Results are more, how should we say it, more customized to a tape fist match. I've thought about turning the Russian chain match. We might be able to turn that also into a dog collar, but I personally don't see what the big difference is. So anyway, that covers the things I wanted to show on here, and I think should wrap it up for this video. I went about a minute too long. I appreciate everybody joining in and continue to support Wrestling's Finest PC game. If you get the chance, please go to Delphi Forums and type Delphi Forums, Wrestling's Finest, and it will take you right to our message board. A lot of great people there, very knowledgeable, and even if you don't have the game, please stop in, because, I'm telling you, it's some great write-ups, some great wrestling worlds. It's kind of like a throwback to the late 70s, early 80s when we used to grab the After magazines and quick flip to, see who beat who and the arena reports, and, you kind of get the same when you go to our forum. Thanks again. Hope everybody has a great day. Tom Vogel, Wrestling's Finest PC game. So long.